Hey everyone, it's James from FunFoods, and today I'm going to show you how to make this Mountain Dew Code Red cake. Yes, I said cake. This is a cake. This was suggested by Byron Chandler, so thank you so much, Byron, for making the suggestion. I finally got around to making it, and if you want to see how to make this, keep watching and I'll show you step by step how to make it. Now the first thing we need to do is start off by making our cake. I'm using a cake box mix, but you can make your own homemade white cake mix if you'd like. Simple as that. Start off with a large bowl, and to that I'm going to add my cake box mix. Next, because it's a white cake, we're going to add 4 egg whites, then a half a cup of vegetable oil. And because this is Code Red Mountain Dew cake, we're going to add 1 1/4 cups of Code Red Mountain Dew to this because the box calls for 1 1/4 cups of water, and I'm just substituting the Mountain Dew for that. Let's mix this up. And you can choose to leave it this color if you'd like. I'm going to make it a little brighter of a red. So what I've done is I'm using this gel-based food coloring, and it is red is what it's called. Hopefully it'll help the color turn a little more red. Alright, so it's more of a pink than a red, but that's okay because when it bakes in the oven, it usually gets a little darker. For the next step, we are going to move on to our pan. I just have a 13 by 9 inch baking pan. I'm going to spray it with some cooking spray. And then I'm going to put a little bit of flour in here. And kind of tap it around. And whatever excess, just dump out. There we go. Now just take your batter and fill the pan. Just spread it out nice and evenly now. Now just bake it in the oven for anywhere between 35 to 38 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now while our cake is in the oven cooking or baking, what we need to do is prepare our bottle. Start with an empty Mountain Dew Code Red bottle, and the first thing we need to do is remove this label. So you have to be careful because it wants to rip. So I'm going to use a blade, but I'm going to be very careful not to break it. Alright, so once you get that first part off, it will come off nice and easy. And then once you get to the end, be careful again. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it mostly intact. Next, what we're going to do is take a razor blade or a very sharp knife, and we're going to cut this right down the middle. And now you should have 2 halves. You have the bottom half and the top half. At this stage, you want to make sure it's nice and clean and nice and dry. And as you may notice, my cut is not perfect, but don't worry about that because it'll be covered up by the label. So another thing we want to do is make it easier to get our chocolate out of our mold here. And we want to just cut a straight line about here, just straight down. We'll get it in. And put some tape across it to hold it in place. And we're going to do the same thing with this. So what I've done right now is traded out my napkins for a cookie sheet with some wax paper on it because we're going to go on to the next phase. I've melted down some white candy melts in the microwave. If you're using chocolate, you have to temper your chocolate first. But candy melts, you don't. You can just melt these down. I'm going to start with the white. And the first thing we're going to do is on the top of the bottle, usually there's that part where the bottle isn't filled completely up with the Mountain Dew Code Red. So I'm going to go to about right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour some of this chocolate, and I'm going to try to get it right in there, in that area. All right, so when you're happy with how you filled that, just let that set up, and then we can melt down some red candy melts. So I put my top portion in the refrigerator just to let it firm up a little quicker. Now we're gonna work with the bottom portion, and I have melted down some red candy melts. If you can't find red candy melts where you are, you can just use the white ones and then color it red. But if you do that, make sure you use gel-based food coloring. Water-based will not work. It will mess up your whole chocolate. So I'm just gonna pour a good amount of this in here. Slosh it around. Make sure you come up the sides. All right, so when you think you got it pretty good, we're gonna turn it upside down onto our wax paper. So now I pulled out the top part of my bottle and the white part has pretty much firmed up. What I'm gonna do is fill this with the red candy melts again. And same process. And this is only our first coat. We're going to do that again because I want to make sure it's nice and thick so it doesn't collapse when we take it out of the plastic. All right, so my cake is done baking. I'm just going to let it cool down completely before we move on to the next step. Now that my cake is cooled completely, I'm just going to pop it out, turn it upside down. Came out easy because we had that flour and the cooking spray on there. So now we're going to flip it back, and this time I'm going to flip it onto a serving dish. Now what we want to do is level this out. So I have this cake leveler, but you can just cut it with a knife if you feel comfortable doing that. Now what I have is this large cookie cutter. It's a 3.5 inch in diameter, and I'm going to cut out as many circles as I can using it. And this is actually going to be the cake that goes inside of our bottle. All right, so now what we're going to do is make our buttercream frosting. I decided just to go with a regular buttercream instead of anything special or outrageous, and I'm keeping the color white. I was thinking about making it red, but I really want to show the distinct layers in between the cake. So, start off with 2 sticks of butter, which is 1 cup. Make sure it's softened at room temperature. Mix this up. A teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then we want to slowly mix in about 3 cups of confectionery sugar or powdered sugar. All right, so now we're moving on to the part that I'm most nervous about. I don't want to break these, so I want to carefully cut that piece of tape that I put on here. There we go. All right, so now what we're going to do is actually fill these with cake. So, first thing I'm going to do is take some of my buttercream frosting. This is just the white buttercream frosting. I'm going to put some at the bottom here. Then I'm going to take one of my little pucks and drop it in. When you get half of it done, just set that aside. We're going to move on to the other half, which is a little more difficult to do because we really can't stand this one up. All right, so now what we got to do is join this. I just melted some red candy melts, and we're going to join these together. All right, so now we'll put on our label. And our top. Well, now it's time for the taste test. I'm going to dig into this and see how it tastes. It's good. I put a little bit too much frosting because that's what I taste mostly. But it's really good. It's a really fun cake to make. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this Mountain Dew Code Red cake. And thanks again for Byron for suggesting I make this. It was a lot of fun making it and it turned out amazing. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Also hit that big red subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, you get new videos every Sunday, and every Saturday you'll get Mountain Dew videos. Also put videos up on Tuesday night and Thursday night as well. And make sure you check out some of the videos I have off to the side. I think you may enjoy those as well. And until then, I'll see you next time.